All right.
I've never done Skype before, man. So this is
Yeah. Yeah, I like it because it's the video comes out, like side to side,
oh cool.
and I don't think Zoom does it. So, or
No,
I don't
I
know.
Meredith produced my producer. She edits all that
Mhm.
stuff, so I just let her handle that. But it's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Cool. So, Jerry, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to Break the Society. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's good to see you again, man. It was great actually connecting at MDM. That was awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man. How did you, what did you take from it, man? How did you like it?
Oh, I think the number one takeaway is everybody has a story and to be transparent
Mm,
because I think a lot of people, they try to they're a poser maybe or try to portray somebody that they're not and takes away from your genuine self and to be as transparent as you can be because I think people definitely resonate with people that are 100% honest and um, it's taken me a lot of years. I'll be 54 in July. It's taken me all this time to be able to actually tell my story.
mm,
Uh, it's got a sense of freedom about it, when you do that. Um, but it's tough. It's tough. Carry around a lot of pride,
yeah.
Trey, you want to be, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a leader, and to actually pull my pants down and show everybody who I am is tough. It's tough, but it's definitely freeing. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I think that's like what I mean. I have this like I'm kind of explaining myself when I say that like a lot of people out there they think they don't have a story. They're like, oh, well, my life is not exciting. Like, why would I, say it? Why would I tell people my story? Nobody cares, kind of thing. And like that's something that I've always thought. I still kind of think that. Um, but like you're saying, like it's just part of being genuine, and whenever you put your story out there, it's like a lot of people are gonna resonate with it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yep. I've done it 3 times so far now, and I mean it is getting a little easier. But my biggest thing is when I'm passionate and I get emotional and my eyes well up. I'm not crying or sobbing, but my eyes well up, and then tears will stream down my face, and
Mhm.
it's like, I'm 6'4", jacked up guy, right?
Yeah,
Supposed to be tearing up and crying. That's been the lie for a lot of years. So that's been the biggest, I think, holdback for me. But after going to MDM and hearing everybody's crazy, amazing success stories, it was really freeing for me.
yeah, it's awesome, man. That's like I think once you tell your story, or once you actually like put stuff out there, and a lot of people start to resonate with you and they start to connect with you more, that just um, frees up like some type of relief in you,
Mm-hmm.
that you're like, oh shit, man, like I finally got it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah. I got to tell my kids my story sometime because I'm telling other people I haven't told my kids.
yeah,
Um, that time will come, I'm sure.
yeah, man. Like whenever they're ready, like you just feel it. And I
Oh
see
yeah,
I see behind you you have that it says do it scared. So
yeah, right, yeah.
yeah, that's what you're going through with this. But yeah, man. Just tell the audience, like we kind of like just got right into the MDM stuff, but it's all good. Just tell the audience, what you do right now professionally.
So I'm in the automotive industry. I've been selling cars for 26 years, and just recently launched a sales training program. Just building my machine, and what my first machine or my first business I'm trying to build besides continuing this business that I'm doing, it's been wildly successful at, is to do sales training for dealerships across the country. So, but right now I work at a Kia dealership, sell my unfair share of vehicles every month, and pretty much work my own schedule and really enjoying it.
Nice. So what got you in there in the first place, into the car sales business?
Oh, that's an interesting evolution. So I was a really good wrestler in high school. I got a scholarship to go to college, but I graduated high school when I was 17, and I went to college, and I wasn't ready to go to college. I wasn't mature enough to go to college. Physically, I was fine. You know, I could compete, I could handle the classes, but I just knew it wasn't the right timing. So I dropped out after a semester, and then I went back home and was working with my dad and jumped into a factory for a little bit and was like, man, this isn't for me. And then I went and watched the movie Top Gun. And I was sitting there watching this movie. I'm like, man, I want to go in the service, but I didn't want to be in the Navy. So I joined the Marine Corps because I liked their uniforms better. So I signed up for the Marine Corps, did 4 years in the Marine Corps, and actually was able to and blessed to wrestle for the Marine Corps. So I would go 4 to 6 months to Quantico, Virginia, wear civilian clothes, train twice a day, and travel all over the country and compete. And then I was actually going to transition and go to embassy duty. And with the embassy school, you have to have 36 months of time on the books, because they as soon as you graduate the embassy, they send you to a hotspot for 18 months and you don't get any leave. So they gave me 30 days leave before I went to school. And when I came home, some of my buddies I was wrestling with in high school were wrestling at Findlay College in Ohio. And so I was just going to stay in shape, train with them. So I came to Findlay, about 45 minutes away from where I grew up, and started training with the college team. And I was kicking the crap out of their heavyweight. And the coach was like, hey, you ever think about wrestling in college? I'm like, yeah, man, but I just signed up I got 3 more years on the books. So I called a buddy of mine who's in the Pentagon, Lieutenant Colonel. And I said, hey, Ken, I got a chance to wrestle in college, but I got these 3 years. I signed this contract. So he pulled my service record book, and he's like, you got a loophole in here. You weren't eligible to sign that extension because I was in a fight. Imagine that, a Marine in a fight. But I was in a fight out in town, and I got, it's called non-judicial punishment. So they took a stripe away from me, but suspended the sentence for a while as long as I kept my nose clean, and they would reinstate it. So I was not eligible. So I went down to Quantico, checked in, told them I didn't want to do this, and here's how I'm going to get out of it, and checked out. And so then Desert Storm hit, because I was going to take a 6-month early out for college because they were giving that. The Desert Storm happened and they froze everybody getting out. So I went from the Mojave Desert in Southern California to Saudi Arabia, right outside of Kuwait. Was there for 4 months, and then rotated back, and then went to Findlay to college. And I know it's kind of a long way to get to what your initial question was, how I got in the car business, but it's very relevant. So I 2 weeks after I got out of the Marine Corps, I met my wife, and she's from Findlay. My plan was to go to college to be a sports med major, and I was going to be the athletic trainer for the Cleveland Indians. That was my dream. That was my goal. Well, then I started doing some research because my wife and I got married between my sophomore and junior year in college, and the divorce rate for athletic trainers was super high, because you're there before the first athlete and you're there after, so you're there and you travel. And so I was like, I value my family more than doing this job. So I transitioned into education. I still got a sports med degree, transitioned into education, and then got out, was looking for a full-time teaching job. Couldn't find a full-time. I had 7 interviews, and here's my resume, dude. I was all Marine wrestler, all American wrestler. I can be an athletic trainer at a school. I can be a teacher. I'm a big man. I've got presence. Anyway, so I'm thinking somebody's going to scoop me up, right? I went through 7 interviews, and it was all the same. Went there, interviewed with them. Oh, you interviewed very well. We really like all the hats you can wear with our school. but then I'd always get a rejection letter. So it's August of 90, 94, 95, August of 95. And 2 weeks away from school starting. And I go to this small school. They didn't have wrestling. They just, I mean, I think the graduating class was maybe like 40. So that's how small the school was.
Yeah.
But they needed a special ed teacher. And I didn't have that certification, but I could get it. So I'm sitting in front of this 2 school board members, superintendent, principal, go through the interview. They say the exact same thing. I'm like, this is a Groundhog Day. I keep hearing the same thing. You can wear all these different hats. That's great. Well, I pumped the brakes. I said, you guys mind if I just speak from my heart? And they're like, sure. And so I said, you just told me I could wear all these hats and I'd fit really well in your school, but then you told me that you have to interview 2 other people after me. You haven't even told me how much the salary is, but I'll tell you, you don't need to interview those other people. I'll take the job. Because I'm married, I got a baby, I need to make money. And they didn't know what to say because I just point blank them. And so then they're looking at each other. Finally, the superintendent speaks up and he says, we'll be in touch with you in a few days, Mr. Gerken. And I got a rejection letter. I'm like, okay, great. So now here's what I'm doing. I'm hustling, right? I'm selling suits at JCPenney's. I'm substitute teaching and coaching wrestling at a local high school. But it was all little piles of money that weren't that much. So, like I said, I had a house, I had a wife, I had a baby. And I was coaching a couple kids at the local high school, and their dad was a general manager of a car dealership. That's how I got in the car business. So I go in and talk to Jan periodically, just BS with him. And he's like, so how's it going? I said, man, I need to make money. And I'd watch these guys come in and out of the office. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. This is easy, right? And I'm like, can you give me a job selling cars? And he's like, you need to be a teacher. And I'm like, okay, but I need to make money. I got to have a job. I got a family. He's like, you just got to promise me that you'll go back into teaching. I can give you a job, but you got to go promise me. So I crossed my fingers, put it behind my back, hand behind my back, and said, okay. So I jumped in the car business. And so, dude, the first 8 days I was in the car business, I didn't sell a car. I was like, holy smokes, this is nuts. So easy. And then finally sold my first car, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a mother and a son came in. They were in like a 94 green Grand Am, and or that's what they ended up buying. I'm sorry, they drove in something else. But go on test drive, come back, get the figures, go in, give them the papers, go through the figures with them, and they looked at each other. Okay, we'll take it. Dude, I didn't know what to do. I had so many, no, I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, I'll be right back. So I went in the office of the used car manager. I said, hey, they said they take it. He just throws the paper back at me. Get the freaking paperwork going. Let's go. What are you doing? And that was the first car that I ever sold. And now I'm in the top 5% in the country as far as auto sales. We have the national average is around 8 to 10 cars a month, and I sell over 40. So my goal is to get to 100. Nice. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. But that's how I got into the car business. It was not something I just woke up one day or when I was growing up, hey, I'm going to sell cars. No, it wasn't that at all.
Yeah, dude, that's interesting, man. You like hop from one thing to another, and then you eventually fall somewhere that you don't have no idea what you're doing. But hey, you needed to make money. You needed to keep the family going. So at that time was your, because you said you had getting like little piles of money here and there with the substitute teacher and the wrestling, and like, were your expenses higher than what you were bringing in from those little piles?
So fortunately, at that point in time, my wife was working at a local factory. So when I met my wife, she was working at Whirlpool Corporation. So she made okay money, and then I made these little piles of money, but that was basically going for groceries, going for this. So we didn't really see any traction as far as growth financially. So, and then when we had our second child, Tina stayed home with them, and she's stayed out of the workforce. But by that time, I was doing crazy cool things in the car business, so it was an easy transition. because having 2 kids in daycare, it was basically washing out to be about $100 a month that she was bringing in after we paid for the daycare, and to have for $100, I'm not going to have somebody else raise my kids,
Yeah. Yeah. So like now being in the car business and like learning, or the car sales business, and like learning over so many years to the point where you're like you said in the top 5%, and you want to get to the like the 40 sales. I mean the 100. You're in the 40s. You want to get to the 100 sales. Like how do you differentiate yourself from everybody, all the other car salesmen, not just at your location, but every other location that you've been, or the one that you
So
started at?
basically, the evolution of sales, it's more about relationship selling as opposed to transactional selling. Transactions, somebody like a young salesperson, they'd stand out by the front door and wait for the door to swing, and then they'd grab a fresh customer, and then they would bring them in and take them through the process. Well, that's a long process, and then you have to build rapport, and you have this and that and all these other things that come into it. And I did it when I was young in the car business because I had to build my clientele. But the difference between, or the differentiation for me, is I understand that it's about relationships as opposed to transactions. Yeah, you're going to have transactions from time to time, but 95% of my business is repeat and referral business. So I already have a relationship with these people. And what that does is they already know, like, and trust you. So they're okay with let's just roll. Okay, Jerry said it's going to be this. Here we go. So it speeds up and expedites the process that you can just take them through. So you're like, how can you sell that many cars? How can you get to 100? Well, then you have different people at different stages. I'll juggle 4 or 5 people at one time. I have a paid full-time assistant that works with me. And then he actually is training to go out on his own eventually. This will be my 3rd one that I've done like this. But I guess that's the biggest differentiation is I understand that it's about relationships, and you don't have to be tied to the dealership. That's what the dealer wants you to think. You got to stay at the dealership. So you like got a ball and chain. You got to be at the dealership to sell cars. Well, you don't. It's who you interact with. It used to be, who do you know, right? Who do you know who, so you can get a job or you can get something. Well, now, in my opinion, it's who knows you and what you do. Because you could interact with somebody and they have no idea that you sell cars, and they could walk in the door the next day, and front door Charlie grabs them and they're like, hey man, I was just talking to you yesterday at the bar. I didn't know you worked here. So it's who knows you and what you do, and you have to be intentional about that. And I don't go out to like a restaurant and tell, hey waitress, here's my business card if you're looking for a car. I mean, typically the people reciprocate, right? So if you ask them, hey, so what do you do for a living? The natural response after they tell you is, so what do you do? And then if you are consistent with the places you frequent, people start to know you, and then they start to, there's a restaurant right around the corner from here that I probably go to 4 or 5 days a week. I'll either have breakfast, lunch, or dinner at this place. I sell everybody in that restaurant because they know that I'm a car guy, so, but I have a relationship with them, and then they'll just call me, come over, whatever. And then the service after the sale too. A lot of people, especially in my industry, it's a revolving door with salespeople because they don't have the client base that I have. I have over 6,000 clients in my database. So if I could sell just 1% of that database once a month, that's 60 cars.
Well,
so it's a well-oiled machine right now. I'm just trying to get it to. But with this chip shortage and some other things, and it just takes a little bit more. And one other thing, as a side note, the way to get to that number is you have to do everything from front to back. So maybe the last time you bought a vehicle, you talked to the salesman, and the salesman went to the sales manager, and the salesman came back to you, and then you closed up the deal, and then he got the paperwork around. Then you had to go see somebody else. You had to go into the finance manager and then go through that all over again. So it takes so much time. The way to get to the higher levels is, but you got to have a dealer that'll work with you, is to be able to do everything. So I've ran 3 stores in my career. I've been a floor manager. I've been a desk manager. I've been a finance manager. So I'm capable to do all that stuff. So if you came in, sat down with me, I grab all the information, get the trade appraisal, do that myself. I get all the paperwork around as far as submission to the bank. Then once we agree on numbers, then I would actually spend like the finance manager would. So you never leave my office. It just streamlines it, and it makes it just that much more effective and efficient.
Yeah, it was interesting what you said about it's how many people know you and what you do, and it's just like that building that relationships with your clients or potential clients or just anybody really, and then people are just gonna like, oh, and whenever they need a car, oh yeah, Jerry sells cars at this dealership, let's go and check what he has, stuff like that. And dude, I've driven up to the Ford dealerships to go and like back in the day, I would go to the Ford dealerships to get my car checked and stuff like that. And I see the people. There would be like 4 or 5 salespersons standing in the door, in front of the door, outside, and they just see you pull up, and everybody waves, or they like start talking to you, and I'm just like looking at them like, okay. But I'm not going to see them. I'm just going straight to the bag, to the wherever the repair service thing is at. And yeah, like I don't know, like that's just pushy to me, and I just like try to avoid anything like that.
Yeah, that's definitely the model, and a lot of people have that idea. That's another reason why you need to develop relationships. And at this point, we have salespeople that are standing out front right now, just like you were describing. But what frustrates them is they greet somebody and then they ask for me. They go out there to the customer and they're like, yeah, we're here to see Jerry. So I got these people escorting, because I sit in the glass office in the back. I don't hang out front. I don't chase people. I just do my business and work my business and my appointment. If somebody comes in, let's go. If they don't, then I leave. Because like I said, you can generate relationships and have people come in and see you outside of the dealership. If you got any car guys listening right now, man, that's the biggest lie that the dealer does. They try to push you for 1 month, and then you go from a hero to a zero. That's bullshit. You can look at your business as a quarter or a half. Just because you have the board that they put all the cars up does not define me as a human being. And that's what they try to drive into your brain is, oh, you're not this on the board, you're not that on the board. Well, screw that, man. You know what? I'm a freaking human being. I got a family. So I don't allow that chatter to enter into my world, because you're going to have managers that are going to be on your ass about not putting up enough numbers. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You got to do this. You got to do that. But once you get to a level that I'm at, they just leave me alone. They don't. If you put up numbers on the board and you sell cars, they're happy. Okay, whatever you want. I'm going to take off for lunch for a couple hours. I'll be back. All right. It's not like, but you gotta grind it out and get to that point. But again, it comes down to the relationships. There's a rule of 250. Okay. 250 people pretty well. I know 250 people pretty well. If you develop that relationships with those 250 people and they know what you do, they have 250 people that they know pretty well. So that just exponentially expands out like that. And next thing you know, they already have that little feeling of a relationship with you because their friend already has done business with you and he likes you. So then naturally he's going to like you and that just grows it that way. So we just focus on the smaller scale of developing those relationships, being consistent with your activities, being consistent with what you do every day. I'm consistent. I go to the Dark Horse at 2:00, between 2 and 2:30, unless I have an appointment. That's the restaurant that I'm talking about. And the patrons know me, and I tell dad jokes all the time, to the point where they bought me an engraved shot glass that said Jokester Jerry on it. I have it at my house because I tell so many jokes, but I want to make people laugh, man. I mean, life's too short. You go through life 2 ways, laughing or crying. I'd rather be laughing,
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like that's kind of like something that I mean, like later on in my business, whenever I grow, I want to have people that are just dedicated in sales. Um, so that's pretty much what I would like for them to do is just go to the clients' houses and talk to them, build relationships. And one of the daily tasks that I have actually, I was actually doing. I was talking to Thomas Keenan,
Hmm.
and like I had sent him like the core values and the mission statement and stuff like that that I just recently created for the company, like, right, that I had finalized to get his feedback on it. And one of the like the daily tasks that I had on there for the lead technician, I created like a daily routine kind of thing, and one of the tasks was like an everyday thing is make people smile or make someone smile. And like like that goes to building relationships. You're right, like whoever you make smile, like it doesn't have to be just a client, but somebody that you meet, at the store or whatever. But as long as you make somebody smile in the day, I mean, that just helps you towards building, relationship with that person.
That's a win, man. Every I have a priorities plaque over behind my computer, and on it states that I want to make a difference in one person's life every day. Just one. I do a lot of people a day, but if I can just make a shift in one person's life every day, whether it be from a kind word, a hug, a handshake, a smile, a joke, whatever. If I can make a shift in somebody's life every day, then it's a win. And absolutely, people people are gonna people don't want a stuffed shirt to do business with. They want to. They're enjoying their life. Yeah, maybe they got you coming over, but they got a problem, so you're going to fix it, or you're going to do some installation or something. But you could be a plain Jane or flat faced, or you can be full of excitement, enthusiasm, and energy. Part of my core values are the 5 E's: a high level of excitement, um, enthusiasm. Geez, out. I had a brain freeze. Excitement, enthusiasm, the leads to effectiveness and efficiency. I got to remember the other one. Having a brain freeze.
Yeah.
It's over here on my desk, but I can't see it right now. But yeah, a high level of enthusiasm, excitement is going to lead to effectiveness and efficiency. If you stay at that level 10 all the time, you try to stay up all the time. And I know it's hard. It's pretty much impossible because life throws you a bunch of shit. But it's still, if you can have that mindset, because you don't know what that next person that you're going to interact with. It's like with the sales stuff. We're in a rejection business. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you put it in perspective of a baseball player, so you got a baseball player, if you're batting 300 in the major leagues, you're an all-star. But that means you got out 7 out of 10 times. Okay, so you're in a rejection business like this. You got to understand that not everybody that walks through the door is going to buy a car, but you have to understand that I'm going to have stretches of no's and I'm going to have stretches of yeses and I'm going to have them sprinkled in and out. But it's just being consistent and seeing people.
Yeah, and as long as like the people that come in or the people that you meet that are potential customers, you're actually like genuine with them, and build a rapport relationship with them. They're probably a no right now, but weeks or months later they'll probably be back.
Yeah,
When they're ready.
absolutely. Yeah, I just had a guy who has a cab company here in town, good customer. The very first car I sold him, we had troubles with it. Um, and there was a broken mirror and there was something else and something else. But this has been many years ago. And it was an as-is vehicle, but I paid for the repairs out of my own pocket because I felt like it was my obligation to this customer. Well, after I did that, this guy sends me everybody. He buys all of his cab vehicles from me. I mean, and that was just that genuine gesture. And I spend probably $700-800 a month on my clients and service, just because they maybe don't have the money, or they just because I want to, because they're a good client. And it's okay. It's a cost of doing business. But my point is this: is I went above and beyond with this one in particular person, and it just blew up because I
Yeah.
did that little extra thing.
Yeah, dude, that's like the whole thing of one of the core values that I created was over deliver. So that's like, I mean, that's exactly what you're saying. Like a lot of other people or everybody else, all your other your competition would have been like, oh, well, I mean, it's as is. That's not my responsibility really to fix it. But if you said, what, man, like, it's my fault. I should have checked it before I sold it or whatever. Um, you fix it, then they're gonna be like, oh shit, this guy's the real deal. And like you said,
Yeah,
like, he's gonna be buying it.
one of mine is sure one of yours core values is integrity. And you know what? If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That's it.
Yeah,
So how do I want to be treated? Do I want to buy a vehicle and then drive off the lot and then there's a problem and they're just not gonna answer my phone call. They're not gonna take care of it.
yeah,
And then the other spiral is what that person is going to tell everybody else. It can go one or two directions. If you say, "No, man, it's as is. It's all on you." Click, and then he's going to tell all of his 250 and their
yep,
250 and their 250 about what a shitty experience it was, or take care of you. And then what? He tells his 250 what a great experience it was, and they took care of me after the sale, and that 250. It's a small amount of money. It's like stepping over dollars to get the pennies in a lot of cases, but I'm stepping over pennies to get the dollars because I'm spending a couple pennies to take care of this customer, but he's going to bring me more dollars.
yeah, yeah. It's awesome, dude. So, with that course that you're the program that you're building, right, for the sales for all the car dealerships, like how do you plan on like changing the industry?
So I have a simple, seamless, and easy process. The number one thing people complain about in the automotive industry is how long it takes to buy a vehicle. So what I do with my program is I take them A to Z and try to help them understand. I do things backwards when I'm interviewing somebody. It used to be the traditional way. People would go out and they would look around, drive this car, that car, the other car, come back, find the one after an hour and a half of driving vehicles, come into the desk, and then we'd sit down and the payments were either too high, they didn't qualify for it, they needed a bunch of money down. And then we just wasted all that time. And then they would walk, they would leave because they're frustrated. So what I tell people is I do things backwards. I bring them in, I gather the information from them up front, interview them for a few minutes, and then find out what their goals, desires, needs, wants, etc. are. And then when I pull up a vehicle, they know that it's going to hit all the bullet points. I developed a triangle. I call it the Gerken triangle. I actually have it patented. And there's 3 points on a triangle, and there's 3 parts of a car transaction, or any purchase for that matter. This can relate to mortgages. It can relate to a lot of things. But there's your payment, your down payment, and the product. That's what I tell my clients. You got 3 points on a triangle. I always open it up like this. I'm a simple man. I like Leonard Skinner. So I try to simplify, dumb it down. There's 3 points on a triangle. There's 3 parts of an automobile transaction. Your payment, down payment, vehicle. You get to pick 2, and I determine the third one. So if you come in and you say, I want to be at $300 a month, and I want that 4-wheel drive pickup truck, I'll tell you how much down payment you're going to have to bring to the table. You say, I got $2,000 down and I want to be at $300 a month, I'll give you a short list of vehicles that are going to fit into that. It's really simple, and people really like it because I sell cars every day. Most people buy every 3 to 5 years.
So
But
that
that's
program,
part of my program. That's part of my program. But what I want to do is get into dealer groups. So like, let's say you got a big franchise dealership out there, maybe has 6 or 7, 8 rooftops, get in with them and work with their sales staff. Because when you get into those dealer groups, they have multiple employees, they have 300, 400, 500 employees. So what I would do is I would go in and just train their sales staff, because a lot of training is out the window. They give them a desk and a computer and say, good luck. That's really the reality in this business. They can say that they train you, but they don't.
yeah,
They don't train.
yeah. There's like a lot of companies out there, man. It's the lack of training. Every position really.
Mm-hmm. But that's the machine I'm building. Is I want to get got my Dream 25. auto dealers. So I just got to start to make some traction with them. And then I've got a website. I've got a private Facebook group. It's called the Six Figure Salesperson. I've got people that all over the country that have went through. There's 6 modules within it. If anybody's interested in looking at it, hit me up on Facebook. But and then I can send you an invitation to the group. It's $149 for the whole program. I got downloadables, instructional stuff, and they're pretty quick hitters. Like I said, I'm a simple man, so I dumb it down so you can anybody that you could. It could be you, man. Just starting in the car business. You check that stuff out and just follow that stuff. You'll turn it around really quick.
And would it apply to salespeople just in the car business, or really any sales position?
So it's applicable to any sales position. And it's kind of funny because when I started doing this, I had a guy reach out to me that is a manager of a furniture store here in town, and their salespeople are 100% commission. And he said, "Hey, can I meet with you next Tuesday and we can talk? And I want to bring one of my salespeople." I'm like, "That's fine." So the guy comes in, sit for about an hour, and I just blew their mind about the processes and all this other stuff. And she's just taking notes feverishly. And so long story short, I point blanked him. He's like, "Man, I really appreciate this." I said, "Well, now I just would like an opportunity to talk to the rest of your sales staff and your management team." I said, "But this one was for free." So we agreed on a number, and now I'm training these salespeople at a furniture store. So,
Nice.
I mean, it's, I mean, I don't want the shiny object over here. I mean, it is applicable, but my main thing is to work with automotive industry.
Yeah. Yeah, like what you were telling me, I mean, with the, like, I don't see it like just in the car business, but like really any business, when you're saying that like the standard way to doing it is like the customer comes in, you're looking at the cars, and you test drive all these cars, and you realize they're too expensive. But when you just brought up the furniture store, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like you walk in and you start looking at all this furniture, and then, oh, well, I like that one over there, and I like that one over there, but they're too expensive. And it's like you're just kind of wasting time, just showing your potential clients all these choices that they probably can't afford.
That's why the triangle is so relevant. I had to use it with my youngest daughter when she was buying her first house. She kept telling me, "Oh, we're looking at this house, we're looking at that house," and the realtor was taking them around, showing all these houses to them. And then they're like, I said, "So what do you think about that one?" "Yeah, but it's just too much money. It's not going to fit into our budget." I'm like, after a couple of weeks, I'm like, "Hold up." And I got the piece of paper out. I drew the triangle and I said, "Listen, you got 20 grand to put down. You want to be at this budget a month on your house. Tell your realtor to show me houses that are going to check these 2 boxes." So basically they had the down payment and they had the payment in mind. So now show me the houses that fit into this perfect triangle. Boom, find a house, bought it, done. But they were jumping around, like you said, they were jumping around all these different places, and oh, it's too much, it's not affordable, I can't qualify for it. So pumping the brakes and doing things, reverse engineering this stuff, doing it backwards, that triangle is applicable to anything, any major purchase if you're going to make payments on it. And I have the furniture store salespeople using it, because they offer financing. Okay, so you want to go no money down, you want to finance? Okay, here's what furniture package you can get for what you want to accomplish. Just really simple.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So as we're running out of time here, tell the listeners where they can find you, also like social media, and I know you got the podcast going too.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Just Jerry Gerken, Gerken, Jerry with the J. I have a website. It's jerrygerken.com, and that's shows my triangle and a lot of other history about me. And then if you want to subscribe to the 6-figure salesperson training program, just DM me on Facebook, and I can get you get you set up and get you the invitation over, and I still have continuous dialogue with these people that are in the group. You know, I got messages from three of them when we've just been talking. You know, just because I want to give. I'm holding true to my word about being a teacher.
Yeah.
I teach every day. Yep. And I coach every day. So I maybe didn't think it was going to evolve this way, but yeah, my life work is teacher, man. But yeah, that's how to get a hold of me. Or if you want to just give me a call, my cell phone number, 419-721-3341. It's on my website and whatever, but yeah, I'm wide open. If I can help, that's what I'm here to do.
Nice. And if this program, they can say, like, I mean, I'm guessing they can do it on their own time, right? At their own pace.
Yeah, they're all pre-recorded modules. Once they get the invitation to the group, they can rewind, watch over and over again. And again, like I said, I have downloadable worksheets. So as I explain what the process is, there's downloadable worksheets where they can actually look at it and say, okay, I'm going to implement this in my business within a business. But yeah, it's pretty badass.
Yes, man. Cool. So the last question I have for you is what do you consider your breakthrough moment and why?
What's my breakthrough moment?
Yeah.
I think my breakthrough moment was when I was driving to the casino at 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday night because I had a very bad gambling addiction. And my breakthrough moment was when my 16-year-old daughter called me on my phone and my Bluetooth popped up her name. And I was one exit away from the casino. And I didn't want to answer the phone. But I did. And she was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm turning around." And I never went back. And I think you can understand what the why is. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. I just needed smacked in the face by my daughter.
You turn your whole life around, man.
I mean, I had a great life. I've had a great life. It was just I was pissing money away. Yeah. I was endangering myself, endangering others. I was drinking heavily. I was gambling too much. It was just a destructive lifestyle. So when I got that phone call from her, it was like, all right, it's done. Turn the page.
Yeah. It's a new chapter.
Yep. Turn the page. Yes, sir. That's in my book too. I've not completed the book yet, but I'm not gonna go into that part because Stuman will give me some shit about it because he doesn't want to hear the chapters you got and all of a sudden he wants the book in his hand. So I got to get that done.
Yeah. Sweet, man. I'm looking forward to the book.
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for sharing that and thank you for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, certainly. And appreciate the opportunity to be on the show. For sure, if I could do anything for anybody, I'm out there, man. Just reach out. Don't hesitate.
Sweet, man. Appreciate that.
All right. Take care.
All right, man. Peace.